Good morning and welcome to another video. It is 6:48 AM on the 10th of February and welcome to a making a sandwich with Jen video. I'm making a sandwich for my dad so I can save a bit of money on the journey. Today is, I should explain what I'm doing, shouldn't I? Today is my day off work because it's a Thursday, which means it's my day to do a PhD. That is the sound of me putting butter on frozen bread. So today's a PhD day. I said at the beginning of the year that I was going to get very busy. So in January I actually just kind of read anything I felt like. I didn't really have any kind of huge pressing deadlines or anything particularly stressful going on, so I just read some good books. I haven't had time to film my final wrap-up, which I'm doing in several parts, but I'm going to do that soon. And I haven't had time because the busyness has started to bite. I have no time to do anything. Now, don't take that as complaining. I actually really like being busy. I'm going to cut some cheese up. I really, really like being busy. I don't function very well as a human being when I don't have a lot to do. I'm much, much better when I have loads to do. I was going to say I'm really good at managing my time. Not to brag, but I'm much better at managing my time when I have loads to do, because I think, right, I've only got an hour, so I need to do this and I need to do that. That's going to have to go because I don't have time to do that. But when I don't have very much to do, I think it's different if you don't have a lot out of choice. If you're just saying, okay, today I'm not going to do anything, I don't want to, I'm just going to chill out and relax and have nothing on my plate. Metaphorically speaking, obviously. You should have stuff on your plate. I'm going off at tangents already, it's clearly very early in the morning. So yeah, that's just my way of saying when I'm like, oh my god, I'm so busy. I'm not asking for sympathy. I really like being busy. Pickle, where's my pickle? So today I am going to Oxford, where my university is. I am a PhD student at Oxford Brookes University, which is a university that I really love. I have studied there before, I did a master's degree there. I really, really like it as a campus. I've got a great library. So I thought I'd do some filming today. I don't know what I'm going to actually be able to film. Do I want triangles? Or do I want rectangles on my sandwich? That's the difficult question. Triangles taste better. Why is that? I don't know. Oh, frozen bread is very difficult. So what I thought I would do today is do a little bit of filming. I don't know what I'm going to be able to... Oh, that's disgusting. Okay, don't brush your teeth and then Oh, don't brush your teeth and then eat pickle. Oh, that's disgusting. What was I saying? Oh my god, I've completely forgotten everything. I'm going to do some filming today, but I don't know what I'm going to be able to film or if this is actually going to work. The first thing I'm going to do is make my lunch, make some breakfast, get some snacks for my trip. Hot cross bun. Do you have hot cross buns in other countries? I'm sure you do. Maybe you call them something different. Currants, raisins. It's got cinnamon in? I think it might have cinnamon in. One of the main things I need to do today is max out the books that I'm allowed to take out on my library card. I'm allowed to take out 30 books. I think I've got a list of about 12 that I definitely want to get. And I'm just going to leave that knife there on the side and not clean up after myself. You can probably see in the background there a Guinness mirror. That's a mirror, by the way. I just thought I'd mention in case anyone thinks I'm a really big fan of Guinness. I mean, it's okay. I do quite like a Guinness. It's like a meal in a glass. It feels so substantial. But actually, that Guinness mirror was in my uncle's pub. So my uncle, who passed away in 2012, he I got all emotional. But that was in his pub for many, many years. And then before that, it was in my gran and granddad's pub. And I think before that, it was in my great granddad's pub. So we've got generations of pub owners in our family. Cheese and pickle sandwich, hot cross bun, banana. Do I want a flask of coffee or do I just want to buy coffee because I'm going to need coffee? If I get stuck in a traffic jam on the M5, I'm probably going to need coffee. But then I can stop at services. Oh, it's such a difficult question. Who knows what I'm going to do? 8:38. I have been travelling for an hour and 32 minutes. I'm sort of in Oxford. I just got off the ring road that goes around Oxford, and I'm stuck at a traffic jam, and I haven't moved in 5 minutes. Oxford is a bit of a nightmare to drive around. Don't drive in Oxford if you come visit here. But all of the park and rides are inside the main ring road. Nino. There was a police car that just went past, and I just say Nino to myself. What was I saying? Yes, all of the park and rides are inside the ring road, so you've got to get through the busy traffic in order to get to the place where you park your car in order to get the bus. Anyway, hopefully I should move at some point, and then I can actually get there. Traffic's moving. Cancel. Welcome to Oxford. This is the route that I used to take into work every day when I lived in Oxford, and it was actually really nostalgic going down the road. I haven't been there in probably about 2 years. I'm really sorry about the really wobbly footage. I was holding the camera as still as I possibly could. Just the roads of Oxford are the actual worst. They're absolutely terrible. On the opposite side of the road to where I was filming this is the site of the very first gay club I ever went in. I'd been into like gay nights in other clubs and bars, but the first like proper gay club I went into is opposite this business school here. It's no longer there anymore. It was too sad I couldn't even film it. It's just the site of some really, really boring office building now. Ugh. And this is some more footage of the high street of Oxford, and I completely forget what college that is. There's just so many colleges. That's a church. And I had to film this bit because I'm giving you the gay tour of Oxford, but this is Magdalen College, and this is where Oscar Wilde went to. Of course I had to film this for you. It's part of my gay tour. It's very pretty. It goes on for a really long time. This is a lot of footage. I filmed it for a really long time. The bus was moving very slowly, which does make it less wobbly. Almost. This seat is where I spent so much time when I was doing my master's dissertation. I was so happy when I walked in at 9:30 and saw that it was empty. I didn't realise there was a person hiding behind the computer over there as well on the right-hand side. You can't see them. I'm really glad that I didn't talk while I was filming this. But the poetry collection was over in this corner, all the kind of modern poetry. And I went over to have a little look at it, and that's when I realised that all of these books on this cabinet here are part of their... Not that cabinet, Jen. Go on. Pan to the right. This one is all their Booker Prize collection. So they have a huge collection of... These are all of the nominated, long-listed and shortlisted Booker Prize books. I'd completely forgotten they had this. They have a huge archive of material related to the Booker Prize, which I did know about. I just completely forgot. It's very high up. I felt slightly ill. Oh. I am back in my car now. It's really cold. And my back really hurts from carrying all of the books that I got. I got 20 books. And also you can see the bicycle wheel marks on the roof of my car. There's actually like bicycle chain marks over there as well. Anyway, I didn't eat all of my lunch, so I'm going to eat some now before I head back. It is 2:10, and I had some kind of sort of casual kind of meetings planned, but didn't really properly plan them, so that didn't really come together. So that means I can actually head home a bit early. I thought that today what I might do is actually sit down and do some writing on just a little aspect of my PhD, but it was actually just really nice to be in the library, and it was really nice to have the opportunity to just browse for books and see what's there, and then flick through books. And there was quite a lot of books that I thought I was going to get, but I didn't. But I did take some photocopies of some of the pages, and that was actually it was just really nice to be able to do that. So I'm kind of glad that I didn't spend too long doing writing. I did a bit this morning, but I'm kind of glad that I stopped that and just kind of focused on browsing the books and finding some books. So I think that's why I'm done so quickly. I'm going to take these books home now. I'm going to stop filming because I can't film and drive at the same time. Hopefully the motorway won't be too busy. I'm home now. It's about 4:15.
I'm completely exhausted. I did stop on the motorway. Well, not on the motorway. I stopped at services on the motorway on my way back. Managed to resist the urge to get a Starbucks coffee, but I just stretched my legs. I don't know if I've mentioned recently or at all. I remember mentioning once about the pain I'm in all of the time due to a cycling injury that I had a few years ago. I don't know if I've mentioned it. I can't be bothered to go into it now. I'm in pain all the time, and today, whew, yeah, quite a lot. Sitting in the car for 3.5 hours, 4 hours, something like that. And then I sat on a bus because I had to get a bus from one side of Oxford to another. That was about 20 minutes, half an hour, both ways, so about an hour. And then I didn't do a huge amount of sitting down when I was actually in the library. I kept getting up and walking around, so that was really good. But I'm completely in a lot of pain, and it's really exhausting being in pain. So I stopped on the motorway at services. I walked around for a bit, and I bought some biscuits, so I'm going to have some of those biscuits in a bit. But I thought I would just do a little wrap up of my day. So that was my little vlog of not really very much actually. I just drove to Oxford and then got lots of books out of the library and did some photocopying. What have I done with my photocopying? I thought I'd left it behind then. No, it's here. I thought I would show you actually the books that I got if you're interested. So I decided I've got such an interesting range of different books. Let me just put these into some kind of order. Okay, I think they're in some kind of order now. So first, I got books about poetry. It took me so long to go through all of the potential books that I could about just an introduction to poetry. So I got 2 books. I got Poetic Rhythm and Introduction by Derek Attridge. I honestly picked this because I met him once in a library I used to work in, and he was really lovely. That is not a reason for picking a book, Jen, but that is what I did. And this is just actually an introduction to the technical side of poetry, so rhyme and meter and oh my god, all that terrifying stuff that I know nothing about. So I got that. I need somewhere to put these books. I'll put them over there. I need to adjust this camera. It's a very weird angle. There we go. That's better. I also got this one, Poetry: The Ultimate Guide by Richard Bradford. Don't know anything about that, but it looks like it's kind of very similar to the Derek Attridge one. No, it's not at all similar. What am I talking about? It looks the opposite. I'm so tired. It looks the opposite, so it's not about the kind of technicalities of poetry, but it's about the history of poetry. So I thought that would be quite good. I also got Heroes Twilight by Bernard Bergonzi, which is a book about writing of the First World War, autobiographical writing, so poetry, fiction and autobiographical writing of the First World War. This one, A Map of Modern English Verse. This is a very old book. Some of these books are very, very old. This book was first borrowed. Should we have a look when it was first borrowed? The 17th of February 1983. I was 3 years old when this book was first borrowed. But this, again, history of poetry, but then it also has different poems by different poets within those particular fields of poetry, movements of poetry. I don't know what it's called. Anyway, quite a lot of really useful things in that. I got Peter Howarth's British Poetry in the Age of Modernism, and then 2 books about Georgian poetry, which is like a poetry movement that was kind of happening just before, during the First World War, that was then supplanted by modernism and is quite often looked down on. But this is The Georgian Literary Scene, 1910 to 1935, by Frank Swinnerton. Do we think this is him? I think it might be. History of that particular poetry movement. And Robert H. Ross, The Georgian Revolt, Rise and Fall of a Poetic Ideal, 1910 to 1922. Next, I've got 2 books about the First World War. And these are both books which are about British society just before and during the First World War, which is quite interesting, actually, to know a bit about that and then kind of use that to inform your understanding of reading and poetry and publishing. So this one by Adrian Gregory, which is The Last Great War, British Society and the First World War. And this is a very old one, again. Gerard J. de Groot, Blighty, British Society in the Era of the Great War. I think a blighty is actually, if I've remembered correctly, it's what soldiers of the First World War used to call, British soldiers, sorry, used to call an injury that you would get a blighty because it would send you home. And let's have a look to see when this book was first borrowed. I can't because someone has taken out the stamp page. It's only 1996. It just looks really tatty. It's not actually that old. Then I got some poetry books, which are a mixture of ones that are actually useful. So I've got this humongous collection, first borrowed 26th of October 1965. And this is a collection of the poems of Edith Sitwell, who was one of the first editors of Wilfred Owen's work. And there's an essay in the beginning by her on what she thinks about poetry, which I've been trying to find everywhere. Didn't know they had it in the university library, so I'm really, really excited that I got hold of that. Then I decided to get some poetry books, which are ones that, well, not that I know that Wilfred Owen owned. I do have a list of books that he owned, but I know that within these collections there are poems that he will have read in editions that he owned. So I've got a copy of the selected poems of Shelley. I've got the complete poems of John Keats. I've got a choice of Swinburne's verse and a copy of A Shropshire Lad by E.A. Housman. Oh, 29th of June 1961, this is first borrowed. A.E. Housman, correct. I don't know how old this book is. Oh, no, it does say right at the beginning. This book was published in 1936. That's a really old book. So yeah, so those are the kind of like traditional older poetry that I got to kind of dip in and out of. I didn't want to get those from the library and haul them all the way back, but actually they're mostly kind of quite light paperbacks, and this is a hardback and it's really, really light. So I got those, and the last ones that I got are actually a whole bunch of slightly more modern poetry. I say slightly more. Tom Gunn, his collection, Boss Cupid, is, I guess, relatively modern compared to, you know, Keats, first published in 1988, and this is his follow-up collection to The Man with Night Sweats, which is about friends of his who had AIDS and the experience of watching them all die. And it says that this is the sequel to that, and it memorialises his friends who have died. It's an anatomy of survival and a self-portrait of the poet in age. So I'm really excited to read that. And then I got a few other kind of slightly much more modern ones. So Nina Minya Powell's Magnolia, which I wanted to read for a long time, and I've heard great things about it. Sacha Dugdale, I've never heard of this collection, but or this poem rather, but I have heard of her poems. I think that this, I thought this was all one poem. Oh, it's not. It might just be a very, very long poem to start with. Yeah, the first poem starts on page 7 and ends on page 28, so 21 pages long. That's quite a long poem. Jack Underwood, A Year in the New Life. I think this was nominated for the T.S. Eliot Prize. Jennifer Wong's Letters Home, which I've never read but I've heard a lot about. And Sean Hewitt is a queer poet that I've heard of, has a really shiny cover, and this is called Tongues of Fire. So, modern poetry, ancient poetry, books about poetry. Those are all the books that I got today. I spent a really long time looking through books and trying to find what was useful, what I just needed to photocopy or scan, what I needed to take out, what I wanted to take out. I had to stop myself. I only got 20 books in the end, rather than my 30 allocation, because I just kept thinking, I'm back in 2 weeks. I can't read all of these books in 2 weeks. But quite a lot of them are useful to kind of dip in and out of, especially these poetry books. So I'm going to stop there because I've got a cup of tea and I want to drink it because I've been filming for 10 minutes and the tea's probably cold by now. I'm going to leave that there. I hope you've enjoyed this little tour through Oxford and my day and what I did. I am probably... Am I going to do any work with the rest of the day? It's only 4:30. I could do stuff. Or I could just do some knitting on the sofa whilst watching the Olympics. Who knows, but I am going to end it there. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon in another video.